Mr. President, I want to take a few moments to talk about what I believe is an excellent choice that President Trump made on Monday, and that's in selecting Judge Brett Kavanaugh to fill the vacancy on the Supreme Court. Judge Kavanaugh's credentials are those of a person very well suited for the United States Supreme Court. He excelled as an undergraduate and a law student at Yale, and he has clerked for Justice Anthony Kennedy, who's retiring, the man that he would replace, along with being a clerk for two of the federal appeals court judges. He served in a very critical position in President George W. Bush's administration, and beyond his resume is a record of respect and effectiveness. Judge Kavanaugh is highly regarded by his colleagues in the federal judiciary, and I think that says a lot about his potential and his character in terms of potential to become a Supreme Court justice. He has also impressed others over his long and very prestigious career. We saw a wonderful family on Monday night. You can tell they're very proud of their dad and their mom. And I was really honored to have the opportunity to meet all of them along with Judge Kavanaugh's parents. He's been very effective. As a matter of fact, the Supreme Court this Supreme Court has adopted his reasoning and their opinions on 11 separate occasions. And the 300 opinions that he has written are frequently cited by federal judges all across the country. But perhaps Judge Kavanaugh's most qualifying characteristic is something that I heard him say at the White House on Monday evening. When the president announced his nomination, Judge Kavanaugh committed to be open-minded in the cases that come before him as a Supreme Court justice. Open-minded. I think that's critical. And his record backs up that commitment. He has a long and clear record of fairly applying the text of our Constitution and our laws. He is, I think, there will be a lot to consider under Judge Kavanaugh because he has such a long and very clear record of writing, and the president mentioned his very concise writing skills. When I consider nominees for the Supreme Court, I don't look for a person who promises particular policy outcomes or someone who is out to actually create laws. What I look for is a person who reflects experience, fairness, and a respect for the Constitution as it is written. That's because the Constitution assigns the legislative authority to us, to its elected representatives in the Congress. Accountability to the American people is diminished when unelected judges pursue their own policy goals. A newspaper in the northern panhandle of our state, the Wheeling Intelligencer, editorialized today, and I quote, "Kavanaugh has said that if confirmed to the Supreme Court, his allegiance will be to the Constitution as it is written, not to his personal preferences. That is precisely what the nation needs," end of quote. Another editorial appearing in West Virginia today, this one from the Daily Mail said, quote, "A conservative Supreme Court justice interprets the Constitution for all, not just those on the left or those on the right." I believe Judge Kavanaugh truly understands a justice and a judge's proper role. And I think no one puts that better than the judge himself. I want to read a portion of a speech that he gave last fall, and I begin quoting. "One overarching goal for me is to make judging a more neutral, impartial process in all cases, not just statutory interpretation. The American rule of law, as I see it," and these are Judge Kavanaugh's own words, "depends on neutral, impartial judges who say what the law is, not what the law should be. Judges are umpires, and at least should always strive to be umpires. In a perfect world, at least as I envision it," and again, these are Judge Kavanaugh's words, "the outcomes of cases would not often vary based solely on the backgrounds, political affiliations, or policy views of the judges. This is the rule of law, as the law of rules, the judge as umpire, the judge who is not free to roam in the constitutional or statutory forest as he or she sees fit. In my view, Judge Kavanaugh's view, too, this goal is not merely a preference of mine, but a constitutional mandate in a separation of powers system," end of quote. I believe that Judge Kavanaugh and I share the belief that faithfulness to the text of the law as written, not the pursuit of a particular policy outcome, should be the goal of a judge. In the same speech last year that Judge Kavanaugh gave, he discussed his meetings with then West Virginia Senator Robert C. Byrd during his confirmation process to the D.C. Circuit. Most West Virginians and Americans know, I think, that the reverence that Senator Byrd had for the text of the Constitution. During his speech, Judge Kavanaugh spoke of reading the text of Article 1 with Senator Byrd. And Senator Byrd was among the Democrats who voted to confirm Judge Kavanaugh to the D.C. Circuit. I think that Judge Kavanaugh's record on the D.C. Circuit and his experience merit a bipartisan confirmation process, the same type of bipartisanship that Senator Byrd showed when he voted for Judge Kavanaugh. For all of the noise and debate outside of this chamber, the confirmation process for a well-qualified Supreme Court nominee does not have to focus on trying to guess how Justice Kavanaugh might rule in a particular case. As a matter of fact, I think that would be a futile exercise and quite damaging to the process at the same time. And if we are looking for a fair umpire, which we're looking for, there is no reason that a nominee with a strong record of applying the text of the Constitution and the law should not be confirmed with overwhelming support. President Trump made clear in his campaign that he would appoint judges with respect of the Constitution. I believe he kept his commitment when he has nominated Brett Kavanaugh to become a Supreme Court justice. So the process is just beginning. We're in a process where Judge Kavanaugh's record will be scrutinized to the nth degree. We're going to be having hearings, and I hope all of us, and I'm certainly putting me in this category, will have the opportunity, which I think we will, to sit down one-on-one, to talk with Judge Kavanaugh, to make our own judgments about his qualifications and his abilities in terms of becoming a Supreme Court justice. I look forward to advancing the process, and I look forward to meeting with Judge Kavanaugh myself. And with that, I yield back. Thank you.